If I lag too much, let me know.
Yes, people, welcome back to West Ham Unofficial. I hope you are all well. It's time for the match preview, the unofficial preview of West Ham United versus Spurs. Sean is currently outnumbered, which is what we like to see. I hope you are all well. Before we get into it, drop a like on the video, subscribe to West Ham Unofficial. If you're new, check out our channel sponsors, SRM Carver and Son, by clicking the link in the description down below. And also, you can vote for me in this year's Football Content Awards by clicking the top link in the description as Best Young Content Creator, West Ham Unofficial. Let's introduce our guests to start with. To my right on air, but left everywhere else is Budgie. Budgie, how are you?
Hi, Jake. Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, not bad. Looking forward to tomorrow's game.
Yeah, I think we all are. Well, hopefully it's not all gone downhill in the first 20. But we're also joined by former West Ham striker Jimmy Quinn to pick the parts of this as well. Jimmy, how are you?
Not bad at all. I'm still breathing.
That's good. That is good. And we have Sean joining us as well to give us the Spurs completely unbiased side of things. Sean, how are you?
Always unbiased, Jake. You know me. Yeah, really good, mate. Really good.
Good. Let's head straight into the chat to start with. See who we've got in. Budgie. Hope you're well. Covered by cats. Just sitting at my desk, looking at work for a distraction. Hope you're well, mate. Phil as well. Hope you are well. Right, let's start off with you, Jimmy. A big derby, probably in the Premier League season. West Ham's most important couple of games. It is our biggest derby. What do you think's, would you say that anything's different going into this game compared to any other game in the Premier League or whatever?
Well, yes, we won on Sunday. That's what we've got going into the game, which is I'm sure every West Ham fan is delighted with, because we needed to get off the mark. I'm quite sure that's taken a bit of pressure off everyone, particularly the manager, I think.
Yeah.
But, yeah, good win on Sunday, and it's just what the doctor ordered. It's a tough game because they've started very well, Tottenham. They've got they've added one or two decent players to the squad as well, as we have. So let's hope we go out. And to be honest with you, I watched the Man City game. I was a little bit disappointed. I didn't think we got about them. I thought we sat off them a little bit and let them have a lot of the play. Whereas last season we had a couple of results against them where we played on the front foot a bit more, and I think that's what we need to do with Tottenham. We need to unsettle them. We don't want to come into London Stadium and dictate and play and whatever. So yeah, it needs to be. It's going to be a derby atmosphere. Both sets of fans are looking forward to it, and I just hope that. After that win on Sunday, the lads go out and get stuck into them, as they say. There's nothing cute about it. Derby, the fans want to see 100% passion to start with, and aggression and the running and tackling and everything else. So let's hope that's the case.
Yeah, for sure. Budgie, Jimmy obviously mentions the game on Sunday. Now, being right at the top of that away end, you could still feel the sense of relief from the fans and the players, and especially David Moyes. You could see him and just his whole body language and facial expressions when he came over. It was one relieved man, for sure, because that went through the fans, the players, and through David Moyes. How much of a boost is getting off the mark on Sunday? Because now we're not, of course we are still searching for points, but we're not massively in need of searching for points. If that makes any sense.
I think, obviously, I think the win on Sunday is going to calm the nerves a little bit, because getting the first points on the board is always your priority at the beginning of the season. So we haven't been able to do that. We haven't been able to score a goal up until Sunday. So that's got to settle the nerves. It's got to give us a bit more of a motivational boost, and also it's going to give them something to work off of. That it's something else now for them to that they can put that behind them now. Now we've got this derby coming up, which is arguably the biggest derby we have most years, at home and away, of course. Also at Tottenham's ground, it's also a big deal there as well. But for the home crowd, speaking as a West Ham fan, it's my first time going back to a Tottenham game in like 30 years. So I'm really excited for it, and I just know that the Tottenham fans are going to be buzzing in the studio. In the stadium. So it's just everything. We've got to get behind the players. That's what I think.
For sure. From the Spurs perspective, Sean, and I do know you like talking a bit of West Ham as well. So from what we've discussed, what have you made of it, and how do you fare Spurs' chances after a very good start to the season?
Well, it's been a good start. I think it's our best start in 13 years. But because of the Conte style, we look blistering on the counter-attack, but he's quite happy to soak up the pressure for long spells. And obviously, Tottenham fans are probably more spoiled than they probably deserve to be. They do demand probably more control of the ball a little bit. They want to see a bit more. I'm not a big fan of the possession stat, but I don't know, just a little bit more control when we get it. Don't give it away. So it's been a strange one. Results have been quite good. Like I said to you before, the first 3 games, out the 3 games, you took 7 points. Last season, all 3 of those sides beat us last year. So there's lots of positives. I think tomorrow, I'm sure we'll get on to it. I think I can't quite work out what sort of game it will be, and a lot of it will depend on the approach of both managers, really.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Let's head into the chat and see who else we've got in. Kent, hope you're well, mate. Evening, I think tomorrow's a 50-50 game, obviously, as it is in every game. I think the first 20 minutes will set the tone for the game. If we come out like we did against Villa, then I think we're in trouble. But if we come out like we did in the second half against Villa, I think we stand a very good chance of getting something from the game. Mark, hope you are well, mate. I really fancy a 2-2, says Kent. Miss Hamrat, hope you are well. Miss Hamrat says we've got to start our new signings. Come out strong. Run at them, give them no respect. We got this. Come on, you Wyans. Steve, hope you well. Get at them from the get-go. Rough them up a bit for sure. We can't. Go on, Sean. Keep going. I don't
want to butt in, but I don't. I think this is why I think it's going to depend on the tactics. Like I think Miss Hamrat said about starting the new signings. Moyes might be worried doing that is just gambling too much from the start, I'd say. Because if you're going to put out your more forward-thinking players, then you're more open to the counter-attack then. And probably not, along with Liverpool, I'd say Tottenham are probably the best counter-attack teams in the league. So he will have that in the back of his mind. What's the other thing that's just about roughing him up? You'll do well to rough up a Conte side because he wants them to be warriors. So that, not sure that'd be an approach that'll work either, to be honest. There's other approaches I think could work, but I don't think trying to rough Tottenham up and going maybe too attacking from the off is personally the right way of going about it if you want a result.
Mm-hmm. Jimmy, how do you think David Moyes should approach this game? We've got a couple of injury worries. We're hearing Johnson is back in training, but Creswell could be a doubt for this game as well. Could you see David Moyes perhaps going more of the defensive side, knowing how dangerous Tottenham can be going forward?
Maybe it depends really. I don't think it's a case of roughing them up, but I think it's a case of shutting the ball down because we certainly didn't do that against Man City. We let them have a lot of space and a lot of time. And against the better sides, that's the last thing you want to do. Because there's only one thing going to happen: the ball's going to end up in the back of your net because they're going to work a space in around the 18-yard box and score a goal. So. Yeah, you can't rough them up like you did years ago. I mean, I used to go, I played with Alvin Martin, people like that. there was elbows flying about and tackles above the knee and all that. You can't do that anymore. But what I do mean is getting close to people. I've seen a couple of games early on. I don't think we got close enough to try to shut the angles to unsettle them. It's not about sort of roughing them up or whatever. But you certainly can put a team out of the stride if everybody's clued into the shutting down, and it depends what area of the pitch David Moyes wants to do that, because the last couple of home games certainly we seem to be backing off and letting them have the ball in their half and then going from around the halfway line. So I don't think we'll do a high press. I don't think we're that sort of team. I don't think he's that sort of manager, but we certainly need to get closer to Tottenham because they have got some very, very good players. And at this level of football, if you don't stop good players from, having an easy time on the ball, there's only one thing going to happen. You're going to end up getting beat. But yeah, he's spot on what we're saying there. It's down to the tactics of the two managers. We know all about Conte. He's one of the top managers in the world. I think David Moyes will play the same system with one up front, so he's got that insurance of people dropping in and hopefully cutting out gaps in the middle of the park. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, we will for sure. Let's head into the chat again. Mike, hope you're well. Mark, thank you very much for the £20 super chat. Means a lot, mate. Can't stay, unfortunately. Have a good one, lads and lasses. Come on your own. Thank you very much, Mark. Covered by Cat says we're open to the counter attack regardless. May as well push for some goals. If we get stubborn Moyes, we'll end up with the same starting 11. Yeah, we'll get onto that in just a second. Phil, hope you are well. Peter says most Spurs seem to think we aren't worth worrying about. Well, in the first 3 games we weren't worth worrying about, were we? But hopefully we get a good version of West Ham tomorrow night. Mike says always nervous in these games, but pressure off a little after Sunday. Peter said we just need to get these new players to get and climb the table for sure. Miss Hammer says hopefully we'll see a commanding captain and communication on the pitch throughout. Steve says didn't mean rough them up as in kicking them about. Just let them know you are there. Peter says we need to show fight and play as a team instead of individuals. Yeah, bang on. Budgie, everybody's got to work together. We've got to try and break them down. I thought David Moyes' tactics after looking back at the match on Sunday were pretty spot on. A perfect away performance, hold them out in the first half, get a goal, and get the 3 points. However David Moyes is going to approach this, then we've got to play as a team, and everybody's got to fit together to build a unit and try and break down this Conte side, which I think Sean tagged me in something that no side has beaten Spurs in 13 games. So let's try and do that. Let's do it the proper way.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right when you say that the team need to pull together and work as a unit, as a group of individuals, but as a unit. So with that in mind, I'm probably going to be a bit controversial here. I think he should start with a very familiar 11. Like we're talking, Antonio up the front. We're talking Bowen, Lanzini, maybe let Lanzini as a sub in the second half. But Fornals, Ben Rama, Souček and Rice. These are all them guys know how to work with each other, and they all know how to play against Tottenham.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They've done it before. Okay, Tottenham have had some new additions, and we're likely to see at least 1 or 2 of those during the course of the match. But, Tottenham as a unit, we played them last season, and so we have experience of playing them.
Yeah.
So that's what I think we need to do. I think we need to go out there, with a familiar 11 and go for it.
Sean, we always seem to get something out of you at home. We beat you last year, and we always seem to, as it were. It's the common way of games, isn't it? Better at home, and we always seem to do better against you at home than we do away. Do you think that's anything to worry about the Spurs, or do you think with the run that you've been on, you should be able to put us aside? Not comfortably, but
no,
put us
I
aside.
don't. I think when someone just sent a message in, they think Tottenham fans have said there's nothing to worry about. I haven't, to be honest with you, I haven't heard a lot of Tottenham fans talk about the game on Twitter, and obviously they seem to be more interested in the transfer window. I think, I think you said it's probably West Ham's biggest game of the season. I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but I think Tottenham view a lot of other games as bigger games all through the season. I know it's a local rivalry, that's never going to go. But I think we probably view, over the last 10 years, games versus Liverpool home and away, Man City home and away, just because we've been quite consistent at Champions League side. So when it comes to playing opposition, I think it's natural that we view them as probably bigger matches, not necessarily a rivalry. Do you know what I mean?
My words were actually biggest derby.
Yeah, I know. I know. Obviously, it's not even Tottenham got Chelsea and Arsenal as well. So it's weird for having a lot of derbies. But
I mean, Arsenal are clearly Tottenham's sort of most bitter rival, surely, aren't
there's
they?
more dislike with Chelsea amongst the fan base, I would say, than Arsenal.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I would
You
say
lot just
that.
laugh at Arsenal. It's quite funny.
I think I said the other. Well, we're going to go off track here. But I think because they're just Arsenal can be a bit of obviously quite successful, but they do some strange and funny things. So I think it's a bit of a banter sort of club a little bit. But yeah, the home thing. I think we beat you 3-2 when Mourinho was in charge a few years back. Did we go 3-0 up? 3-0 up or something like that? And
can't remember.
you nearly clawed it back. I can remember.
The game when you went 3-0 up, wasn't that when Lanzini smashed that 30-yarder in?
No, it was definitely your place. Mourinho's. I think we were 2 or 3-0 up at half time. And then you come flying back. It was before COVID because there was definitely fans there.
Yeah, we got 2 back, yeah. And then it ended up 3-2, yeah.
Yeah, I think you were like coming to get the equaliser again, like you did a couple of years before, right in the last minute. Well, obviously you got the crowd behind you. You make a bit of noise there, don't you? So
sometimes.
But yeah, I think for the team, I think Conte's drilled it into them. He's tried to, just not to fear anywhere they go. Like Forest. I don't think Conte as a manager probably views this game a lot bigger than Forest away at the weekend. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's not saying you're worse than Forest, because you're probably not come the end of the season. But I think Conte views every game exactly the same. I expect him to rotate a few on Saturday. It wouldn't surprise me if he looked at this game with the European games coming up. It wouldn't surprise me if he rotated a couple for this one. I think he's got the trust in the players. The atmosphere, obviously, at Forest was very noisy at the weekend. I just think Conte, a game like this, I just think he knows it's a tough game. Every Premier League game's tough. But I don't think he'll view it any tougher than like a Forest. And someone was saying a minute ago about West Ham sat back a lot against Villa and sort of sat off the teams. Well, on Saturday against Forest, strangely, that's what Conte did even more than normal against Notts Forest. So when I said about the tactical battle, I'm thinking, well, if West Ham sit off and don't high press, and Tottenham sit off and don't high press, it could be a funny first 10 minutes whilst they work each other out.
Yeah. Jimmy. Yeah. Jimmy, how big of a factor do you think that this game is being played on a Wednesday night under the lights at the London Stadium? How big of a factor do you think? Because generally we do have a better atmosphere against a side like Spurs, but especially under the lights as well. It will be loud in there, and it's not loud that often, and it will be hopefully rocking in there tomorrow. If we can get Paqueta out on the pitch before the game and get an atmosphere going, we could. And if we start on the front foot, we could give them a right go, I think, with both the atmosphere and a good start, which could benefit us massively, Jimmy.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, as a player, I used to love playing under the lights in the midweek games, particularly at Upton Park. Scored a few goals as well. And the players will be looking forward to it, but particularly being at home with the fans and that. And you just need to fight for every ball. It's you got two managers that tactical, know what they're doing. Conte's as good as you'll get, so it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a tough game, and it could be a marker for West Ham. In fact, if we go out there and we put a good show on and get a result, any kind of result, it sets us up for the games coming up, because Tottenham will definitely be up there with the best of them this season. I have to say, I think Man City's probably going to win the league again, but I think the next 2 or 3 positions are up for grabs. Whether Liverpool can get back in there, I don't know. But Tottenham have shown a consistency level already, and so have Arsenal. They've really looked exciting. It's the best Arsenal side I've seen for quite a while. But and Tottenham, as I said before, have added some players. It seems to have given them a lift. So it's going to be tough, but it's a feather in your cap if you can go out against some of these teams that are fancied to finish in the top 2, 3, or 4, and put on a good show and get a result against them. That sets you up for the rest of the season. But as Sean said, there's no easy games in the Premier League. They can go either way. Things can hinge on a referee's decision. Somebody giving a penalty away. Anything can happen, but we've got the fans on our side. We're at home, and I would expect, as every fan watching the game on Wednesday night, that the team roll the sleeves up and put a good shift in. That's what we're all looking for.
Yeah, 100%. Jimmy, just coming off the back of that, what was the biggest derby you ever played in?
Biggest derby?
Yeah.
Well, I played in a lot of club derbies, obviously, but the biggest derby was Northern Ireland against the Republic of Ireland, which was quite a while. It was probably before you were born, Jake. Well, it was before you were born, Jake. I'll just tell you a couple of things. 93, 94, we played the Republic in World Cup qualifier, and they had everybody playing. They had McGrath, Roy Keane. There's too many to mention, all top players, and the lead up to that game, because it was very political because of obviously the Republic playing Northern Ireland, there was 18 people shot dead 2 weeks leading up to that match. That's when all the troubles were still on, so you could cut the atmosphere with a knife. It was that fun. And obviously, we had the advantage being the home team and obviously the home fans. And the Republic of Ireland, they were a bit apprehensive or a bit scared coming to Belfast with all this going on in the background, But I scored one of the best goals ever scored. Scored a volley from outside the box, 30 yards, top corner. I don't know where you've seen it, Jake, but... we ended up, if we'd have beat the Republic that night, they wouldn't have qualified for the World Cup finals in America in '94. But they ended up getting a draw. An old teammate of mine, Alan McLaughlin, bless him, he's dead now, rest in peace. He scored the equaliser in the second half. But that's definitely the biggest game, biggest derby I played in. Yeah.
Yeah, well, derbies, anything can happen. Budgie, how can you expect the midfield to go about things, as it were, tomorrow? Because we've got a bit of a conundrum. Rice has been on and off this season. I thought in the first half against Villa he wasn't great, and then he really turned it on in the second half. Souček played a little bit better against Aston Villa, but he still hasn't been reaching the marks that he has been reaching in the past. It's key that we get a clutch hold in the midfield. How do you think we go about that? Do you think we maybe push a kind of a Fornals or a Lanzini back, or do you think we just got to go with what we've been doing?
Yeah, I actually, it really depends on the personnel he's going to use. But I think, if Lanzini starts, he's not at his best. That's just my personal opinion these days. I mean, he's always been a great player. And for me, I still believe him to be technically the best player we've got. But he doesn't always seem to, do it for me if he starts. So Fornals is more likely to be the starter in the 10 role, possibly. And when he starts, he does do a lot of backtracking. He does a lot to help out the guys behind him. He does a lot to feed the guys in front of him. I mean, I've seen that I can't remember what game it was in, but he put Bowen in on goal I'm sure it was one of the European games, and he was actually behind Souček and Rice when the ball came to him, and it was a first time touch, and the ball went up and over and more or less onto Bowen's feet, and he ran in and scored. But you know, that's what I'm saying. But he can be a lot deeper than, well, not a lot deeper, but he can be deeper than Souček and Rice are at times. You know, and I found that Lanzini's a little bit more forward thinking. But you know, I don't know. I think perhaps Fornals would probably be my choice to support Souček and Rice.
Yeah, fair enough.
But we need a captain's performance out of Rice tomorrow.
No, we do. He needs to stand up and have one of his best 90 minutes, I think. Sean, if I was to tell you that you'd be sat here 26 hours from now when you've got a draw, would you be disappointed? Do you think Conte would be disappointed? Do you think the Tottenham fan base would be disappointed with a draw?
Conte would definitely be disappointed. I can tell you that much. He wants to win every single game. He'll I would imagine a draw hurts him like a defeat, to be honest with you. He's a winner, so that's something that Tottenham have lacked over the years, a little bit of winning mentality, and I think he's trying to drill that into the players. On the draw, I know we were talking about Moyes' tactics. I just wonder, because I think Budgie said about going back to old school, back to the players he knows a little bit. I wonder, after you've got to win, whether you deserved it or not, you've got to win, right? So you've got a little bit of confidence, momentum. I wonder if Tottenham at home is maybe a game he'd rather not have next. And it just makes me think the last thing he wants to do then is go and lose, so he loses that momentum. Do you know what I mean? So part of me with the tactics is wondering whether Moyes would settle for a point right now, to be honest.
I think
he would.
Do
you know what I mean?
I think he would.
Yeah, so do you know what I mean? Like, if you get a win away to Villa, draw with Tottenham, then you go again. I don't know who you've got after this, but do you know what I mean?
Chelsea.
Yeah, Chelsea can be got at, but do you know what I mean? It's like, I just wonder whether the last thing he wants is a nice win away, then lose at home to anyone. And the fans would groan if you lose to Tottenham. So I just wonder whether he might sort of go.
Chelsea home and away last season, Jake.
No, we beat them at home and then we lost in the last minute away.
Oh yeah,
so they had that penalty and then they scored again, didn't they? Dawson was sent off. The rest of it.
So Conte wouldn't take a point. I don't think the players would be happy with a point. I think that's just the mentality now. And like Jimmy said, if you want to be a top 3-4 club, there's not many teams in the land where you would settle for a point. I think you probably Tottenham would settle for a point away to Chelsea because we're always awful there. Probably we beat Man City twice last season. We drew Liverpool twice last season. So that's the sort of level when you say, would you take a point? That's the sort of level now you need to stay at. So would I be happy with a point? Normally I'd say no, but I'm going on holiday on Thursday and I don't want to go on holiday after a defeat. So that's just a little bit of a silly way of looking at it. But would you take a point? Well, part of me said I'd be happy with a point, but probably wouldn't be, if that makes sense. It's a weird one. Don't want to lose, do you? Don't want to lose.
No.
So,
no.
I'd only be happy with a point if it's a high-scoring game.
But Tottenham don't concede many. I think when they let 2 in at Chelsea, it was only the second time in about 20 games in the Conte we've let in more than one. So, and what I have noticed this season, a little bit different, we are very drilled at the back, especially when the wing backs drop in. We don't concede, when I say a clear-cut chance, nothing, no one's carved us open. If it's been a shot, it's been gone a little bit wide and they might put it over in the side netting. I think Lloris has made I think I said last night, Jake, he's made 8 saves and half of them have been from outside the box. So we haven't looked like conceding more than 1 or 2 for a long time. But so keep banging on about the tactics. We'll see what happens. If Moyes wants a point, it might just be one of them games.
Yeah, Jimmy, I don't know about you, but we saw a debut last week for Tilo Kehrer. He didn't have his best game, gave away a penalty, but apart from that, I thought he was okay. I thought he was brilliant on Sunday against Aston Villa. I thought both Kurt Zouma and Tilo Kehrer were excellent against Aston Villa. For sure, one of them was my man of the match. Would you like to see Moyes continue with that after they complemented each other reasonably well on Sunday against Villa, or would you perhaps like to see an Ogbonna come in? What would you do at centre half, Jimmy?
Well, if Ogbonna's 100% fit, I'd play Ogbonna. That's just me. I think he's a superb defender. I think we had our best run when he was playing with Dawson, and obviously Zuma's come in as well. They're good defenders, but the new lad's very good. But he's so small for a centre half.
He is quite small, isn't he? Yeah.
These centre halves are like 6 foot plus, aren't they? But he's small, quick, and agile. But he looks a decent player. I think we've signed some decent players. I like Scamacca.
Scamacca, yeah.
Scamacca, yeah. I think if he gets a run of games, I think he'll put the ball in the back of the net. Whether that's a run of games playing with Antonio, I don't know. I would like to say, to be honest with you, now and again, him playing with Antonio, maybe Antonio dropping in the hole a little bit, because Antonio isn't
as a 10.
Yeah, as a 10, Budgie. Yeah, because I think Antonio's an out-and-out centre forward. I was a centre forward, 6'2". You're going to win your headers, and Scamacca will do that. And I think it might just suit him if I don't know where David Moyes will see that. I think Antonio running the people from a little bit deeper would have a little bit more joy, because I think when we play teams that have got big, strong centre halves that are good in the air, I think he doesn't win too many headers. Antonio, he tries his best to put his body in and whatever, but I just think it might suit him if he did play with Scamacca right up the top, and then he drops in the hole, and they try and get the ball to him where he can turn and face up people. But we'll have to wait and see. But I agree with Sean. It's a tough game tomorrow night. It's hard. It doesn't matter what result you get when you're playing, teams that have started as well as Tottenham, as well as the Arsenals and that. But
you've got to get the best result you can, haven't you? Really, Jim.
You've got to get the pace of the game right. You've got to get about people, and you've got to put them out of the stride. We've got to make sure that obviously it goes without saying, Harry Kane, he's finding the net on a regular basis again. You need to stop him playing. It's not rocket science football. People that keep scoring goals. If you, I'm not saying the man mark him or anything, but certainly we need to get close to him to stop him from turning or stop him getting cross bodies and whatever. It's a difficult one, because at that level of football, there's so many good players, and a goal can come from anywhere. But it's the same for West Ham. Even Lanzini, Budgie said he's not his favourite at times, but I just remember that 30-yarder he scored against Tottenham.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, I was up, I nearly headbutted the ceiling. But
I think we were all like that.
Can turn the game, but so have Tottenham. I'd settle for a point. I agree with Budgie. I'd settle for a point now, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think we all would. Yeah, for sure. Let's head into the chat. John, hope you well. Both sides haven't played well. The only difference is Tottenham have the points. It could go down as the worst game of the season if form is anything to go by. Phil says the crowd will be behind the behind the players to our big time. Yeah, for sure. Peter says rumour Son may be replaced by Richarlison. Sean, just run us through a rough starting lineup that you'd expect to see tomorrow.
Son's been struggling with confidence a bit. He hasn't looked himself. That's widely known. If I was going to pick a team, obviously Lloris would go and goal. I think he'd be the back three. Romero's fit enough for the bench, I think. Sanchez would come in. I think he's got a brilliant record with clean sheets, Sanchez, but he's nowhere near as good on the ball as Romero. Romero's
I don't rate that Sanchez. I think he's average.
We keep thinking, we thought he was a liability for years, but I think he's kept the clean sheet in something like the last 8 games he's played in. So, but he's nowhere near as good on the ball as Romero. So when Romero out the team, very class player. We'll miss him no matter what. So then it'd be Dyer in the middle, who's barely put a foot wrong in the centre for free, to be honest, since Conte went to that. Davies on the left of the three, which is his natural position, which is perfect for Conte. He's played that for Wales for about 5-6 seasons. We got 3 right wing backs. I think he'll probably still go with Emerson Royale. He's probably not the most gifted going forward, but he's got an engine. He'll get up and down. Conte loves his wing backs, so that's why it's quite key what formation Moyes go with. I hope to see Perisic on the left wing back, just because he's class and has got that experience. So if he plays Perisic, whatever formation you play, your right-sided wing back, right back will have to be on his game, because he hits his crosses. We suffer with our wing backs. Like Roy on the other side, he can get in a brilliant position, and his cross will be shit. Shit, you know what I mean? Get Perisic down the left. Every ball is like on the money. It's whipped in with pace. You think that's like a striker's dream. Centre midfield. I think we've got for the first time this season. We'll probably see Basuma start because I'm a big fan, Jake. But my slight concern there is he hasn't played a lot. Bentancur had a head injury, so I think he might have like a concussion sort of, not suspension, the rest. You've got to have a rest, haven't you? Concussion now.
Yeah.
So Basuma come in, big fan. He'd be in my best Tottenham team, but he had a stop-start pre-season. He caught COVID out in Korea, so he flew out there, didn't even play one of the friendlies, spent most of it in this hotel room. He's come back and he's had like 5-10 minutes here and there. I'm a big fan of his, but it'd probably be him and Højbjerg in the middle. And then up front, obviously Kane doing what he wants to do. Kulusevski, who just looks classier and classier every week. Even if we don't look like we're playing great, he just looks class. I think he'll stick with Son. Just because if a player's on low, Jimmy could probably got a better view of this, but when a player's, it's only 4 games in the season, he hasn't quite clicked, hasn't had as many touches, hasn't scored. He got took off on 70 minutes the other day and he just looked gutted. Do you know what I mean? And I just wonder whether when a player's feeling like that, because he's missing by margins. He blasted one over the bar from about an inch over the bar it went. So I just wonder if now's the time to take him out, whether it might do more damage. I know he's a big boy, and also on the flip side, Richarlison, the super sub he's being last 20 minutes is working. So if a super sub's working, every time he's come on with 20 minutes to go, we've improved. So I'm thinking that's like sort of a pattern which I probably wouldn't change personally. So yeah, I think there'll probably be Basuma, I would say, be the only change from the weekend. And in all fairness, that's forced on him. But I have got I'm a big fan of success. I've got a slight concern just at his lack of game time. But that'll come down to what West Ham do in the middle, because I've got my opinion how West Ham should set up to trouble us. And if Moyes doesn't do that, then Basuma could have a blinding game. He's got the ability.
Fair enough. We'll get on to a little bit of West Ham team news. I have my video coming out a little bit later on of my starting 11, so we're not going to dive into it too much, so you have to wait for that later. Antonio must start. Always done well against Spurs. I don't think he starts Scamacca again. He started Scamacca Thursday and Sunday, and he did look knackered towards the back end of his appearance against Villa. So I'd be incredibly surprised if we do see Scamacca. We should bring Obiang back for this one. What a goal that was. Cotty should start, says Peter. Let's scroll down.
Sterling has just scored for Chelsea.
Oh, was he? Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. Keep your comments coming in, guys. John, hope you are well. Let's have a look. Let's scroll down. Steve says, Phil, that Benny could do a job at 10. Benny's got to start tomorrow. He was dropped against Villa, and he came on and changed the game in the second half. Ben Rama's got to start tomorrow, in my opinion. Is there any differing views to that, Jimmy, Budgie?
Mate, I think. Sorry, go on, Jimmy. You carry on, mate.
Yeah, but sometimes when the manager keeps putting you on the sub and you keep changing the game, it's good for you, because if you're not in the starting lineup, the pressure's off you a little bit more, and that may be the sort of niche that he's finding at the minute, Benny, because he looks like a world beater at the minute. He looks totally different. Last season he'd come on and he'd run at people, but he'd give the ball away a lot, and there wasn't really an end product with him and stuff. But he really does look like he's probably taken on board what the manager wants from him a bit more, and he looks like a match winner. So it may be the same thing, Jake. He may be on the bench and he may get a little bit longer in the second half and come on and change the game. You don't know, because he is you need players like him that are going to win you a game. He either by a cross into the box or cutting inside and bending one top corner, which he tries to do quite a lot. But we'll have to wait and see what Mr. Moyes, who he picks tomorrow night.
He is somebody, Budgie, that will make things happen. Anything to add?
No, not really. I mean, Jimmy got it, hit the nail on the head. When he comes on, he really makes an impact, and he looks a lot more like the player we signed from Brentford, if I'm honest. When we signed him, all of us must have looked at the video reels of him and that when he was with Brentford, and he's looking a lot more like the video reels that I saw of him now, and he is becoming that impact sub that we kind of expected him to be last year. And he can actually influence a game from where he is from the start as well. Our part of the game. I'm not saying the entire game, but he can have influence from the start as well. So for me, he's been our best player this season so far. So yeah,
without a doubt.
I think he should be there, nailed onto the left-hand side of the.
Without a doubt. I think so. John says, love Lanzini, but he's a bench foreman out. I would rest Pablo for Cornet. Yeah, I would like to see a bit of pace with Maxwell Cornet just to liven things up as well. I'd give Bowen a rest. So I would start players like Antonio, but I still do think that we do need an element of change in there as well. So I think it's got to be a bit of both from Moyes tomorrow. Peter says, would take a point if we came back from 2 or 3 down. Mike says, we will need to change the way we play when Paqueta plays. He needs to get on the ball. Yeah, I'd be surprised if we see him in action tomorrow. I don't even know whether he was registered in time because he had to go to Hull, but then that was cancelled and he's in London to sort out his permits and registering and all of that kind of stuff. So whether he'll be on the bench, we're not quite so sure yet. Gary, hope you are well, mate. Gary says, first home game tomorrow. Blame myself for missing the rest on holidays.
1-0.
Lucky charm. Get in.
1-0. It was Lavia. Yeah.
Southampton.
Yeah.
Southampton dealing their goods.
Ward-Prowse corner. The ball was put out to him. Drove it in. Beautiful. Sorry. Carry on.
That's all right. That's good stuff. John says, would you play Oggy and Tilo as right back? Now that's a shout because because Soufal, he wasn't great. He could probably do with because he did play the majority of the game, even though he started on the bench. Maybe we could experiment with Tilo at right back. That could be an option. EP, hope you're evening, Jake. I did say we will win at Villa. I'm going a hard fought 2-1 win. He has to start Antonio, in my opinion. Skamaka has done well, but he needs a rest after 2 starts in 4 days. I agree, mate. Come on, you Irons. Ash says, would you start Emerson, Paqueta and Cornet against Spurs? I'd be surprised if we see Emerson. Personally, Paqueta, I don't think he's going to be anywhere near fit, and Cornet, I would like to see him for sure. Trevor says, I think a great game and atmosphere and a 2-1 win. That's what we love to see. Mike says, our bench is so much better than it was last season. Yeah, 100%.
Our bench is almost better than our first starting 11 was last season.
Yeah, literally. Literally. Peter says 3 games in 6 days could test us. He certainly do. Southampton equalised. Happy days. Peter says Moyes will say he has too many players to choose from next. Yeah, he's gone from one extreme to the other. He's gone from barely being able to put a side out to too many to choose from. Gary says, do you think the players that come back from international duty late have struggled to get match fit until now? The Premier League started earlier this season and they all look much better by the end of the game. I do think some players haven't been as sharp as they could be. Bowen, I don't think has been fantastic. That might have played a part in it. But let's go to some predictions. I'm going to go first because I worry somebody's going to take my prediction. I think we win this. I think it's a good atmosphere. I think we start well. And I think we win it 3-2, personally. Antonio to score, a centre-back to score, and Declan Rice to score. Now, I'll tell you what, if you bet on that and that comes in, you're winning a few quid. But who wants to go next? Oh, no one. Lovely.
I'll go last.
Yeah. You go last. No one even wants to hear your prediction, Sean, so you can go last.
Yeah, go on, Jimmy.
Go on, Jimmy. Oh, he's gone now. Go on, Jimmy.
I'm going to go a conservative 1 each.
Fair enough.
Just going with form, I know we've had a good win on Sunday, but Tottenham have started very well. Tough game. I'd be delighted if we got a point, but a win would be even better. But it's a tough call, isn't it? It's a game for the fans, and whichever team's got the best appetite on the day will probably come out on top with the best chances. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Everyone in the chat, get your predictions in. We will read them out and discuss them. And Budgie, your prediction, mate?
Well, similarly to Jimmy, I think it's going to be a pretty tight game, and 1-1 probably is going to be, there or thereabouts. So I can't go with 1-1 because Jimmy's already got it. So I think an 87th minute penalty, Lanzini steps up. 2-1.
Good stuff. And here we go. Come on then, Sean.
It's the same old thing. I've got about 20 scores running around through my head. So I'm trying to think, do I go for it and sound daft if we lose, or do I just say what I think? So I'm going to base it purely on what I've seen so far this season. Try and keep it with a bit of thought. I think Tottenham might edge it 2-1. Would not surprise me if we score a couple early and you do your usual where you nearly come back in the second half. Something like that. I'll be surprised if we let in 3, like you said, Jake. That would surprise me a lot. But
it's a derby, innit? You got to go out there. I don't do normal 1-0s and 2-1s in derbies. Let's go for it. Let's see what happens, shall we? Let's go.
On good authority that Jimmy's going to be there and he's lacing up his boots. So
he's ready to go. Super sub, Jimmy. Super sub.
Deal. Not warmed up.
Right, let's head into the chat and let's have a look at your predictions then. 1-0, 1-1, 2-2, a Desmond from Mike. 2-1, come on you Irons. Everton 1-0 up against Leeds. I mean, to be fair, I'd rather that be a draw because I don't want any of them to win. 3-1, says John, fair enough. Gary says 5 at the back we lose, 4 at the back we win. The new boy will come on for the last 15 minutes. Which new boy? We've got 8 of them, Gary. But I guess you mean Paqueta. But yeah, hopefully, you never know. Right then, final thoughts. You can talk about anything about the game in your final thoughts, but everybody's got to talk about something different about the game. And Jimmy, you can go first. Take your pick.
Talk something different about the game.
Yeah, your final thought.
Well, like everybody on here, we're all looking forward to the game. It'll be a terrific match, and if West Ham can pull one out of the draw, like they have a few times against Spurs. I know my old mate Steve Jones will be at the game tomorrow night, and I can remember Steve when he scored against Spurs when we won at Spurs 3-1, I think it was. He scored one, and Trevor Morley got another one, I think. But yeah, you're hoping and praying as a fan, and we're all fans, that we put on a good show against probably one of the best sides in the Premier League at the moment. So I'm just really looking forward to it, and hopefully we can, with the help of Declan Rice in the middle of the park, he's without a doubt one of the best midfield players about. So it'll be interesting to see how they match up, and Conte being defensive and Moyes being defensive, the tactics will come into play, and it'll just be interesting to see which way the game goes.
Yeah, for sure. Sean, you can go next. Final thoughts.
Yeah, I think a lot of it for you boys depends on what Moyes does. To be honest, I think you played a back 4 the first 3 games and were very poor. I think, right, you're saying started with a back 3-5 the other day and a poor first half, changed it back to a back 4 and improved. So it's a strange one. I think when you went to the Tottenham game last season, you played a back 5 and matched up with Conte and got outplayed quite a bit. So it's Moyes has got to look at that. I don't envy him trying to work out if he wants to go for the win. That's why I think he might just set up for the point, because it's easier to set up for the point than the win. So yeah, whether he goes for a back 4 or back 5 is key. If you go for a back 4, Tottenham they're going to overload him at some point. So whether he plays a back 4 or a back 3, where you'll get the most joy against Tottenham is where Chelsea always do, and Conte's quite stubborn. He'll stick with his 3-4-3. If you can pack the centre midfield and almost so you pass it in triangles around the 2, that's where Chelsea always get joy against us. And Wolves got a bit of joy doing the same thing 2 weeks ago, and we beat them 1-0. So if Moyes wants to try and beat us, he's got to get the right 3 in there. If he goes 2-on-2, even though they've got Rice in there, I think there's a slight chance we might be a bit sharper. I don't know if we look whether we probably look a bit fitter than West Ham at the start of the season. I think we started a bit leggy, to be honest. So yeah, it's where he gets the back 3 and the back 5. That choice, that's his first one. And then I think if he's whatever he does, he's got to just pack the midfield. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree. Budgie, your final thoughts?
Oh, first of all, my first thought is what an eloquent way of putting our start to the season, Sean. Well done, mate. I thought that was cool. Final thoughts on tomorrow's game. Listen, we have to boss the game. Simple as that. We have to be in charge of that ball throughout the 90 minutes. We have to control the movement around the ball. We have to make sure that Harry Kane is as covered as we can do, and we've got to stop his deliveries as well. So we've got quite a task on our hands tomorrow, but I feel that with the right personnel and the right formation, I think, as Sean said, we need to kind of flood the midfield a bit with some useful players, And if Paqueta was able to start tomorrow, why not start him, Souček and Rice? It would be the perfect. I mean, that's the perfect time to play a 4-3-3 if you're asking my personal opinion.
Yeah, good point. Good point. So there we go. That's the unofficial preview for West Ham versus Spurs. Before we go, a couple of little plugs. You can become a channel member of the channel by clicking the link in the chat. Now, there's currently a members giveaway going on and plenty of exciting stuff going on over at the membership page. You can win all sorts of stuff over there, and you can vote for me in this year's football content awards by clicking the link in the chat now as well. Best young content creator. It can be me if you vote for me. West Ham Unofficial as best young content creator. A huge thanks to all of my guests tonight. Firstly, Jimmy Quinn, thank you very much.
Cheers, Jay.
Thank you very much. And Sean, and thank you. And Budgie, thank you very much. Sean, thank you very much for your very unbiased and levelled opinions as always.
As always, mate, you know what I'm full of.
Yeah, spuds, and we don't like it, but you're all right. But yeah, and Budgie as well, thank you very much. Before we go, Pete, are you back to school? Not yet.
Jake?
Yeah.
I bought this in London the other week for £3. Look at that.
Oh, £3. We love the bargains.
£3.
Look at that.
It's going to my bar out the back.
Will it not be allowed in the house anywhere, so it's going in the bar?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy, if you ask him nicely, Jake might even sign it for you.
Oh, no. No, brilliant. Thank you very much. Yeah, £3 you were robbed. That's a good deal. That's a good deal. It's probably cost you 15 quid in the club shop. Yeah. But guys, thank you very much for your company tonight. That's it from us. Come on, you irons, or whatever them lot do down the lane. We'll catch you soon right here on West Ham Unofficial. Cheers, guys.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers. Bye.